Hello and welcome to PRSay. This is the Houston chapter of the Public Relations Society of America podcast. And here on PRSay, we have an opportunity to introduce Houston chapter members to other members to make sure that we are staying networked and we are growing in our profession. And today we have a great guest that we're going to have some great conversation about what that looks like. So let's go ahead and get started. But take care of some housekeeping first. We always got to make sure we remind you to hit subscribe. We don't want you to miss any episodes of PRSay. You can download it from your favorite podcast platform, or you can watch on Facebook or YouTube. And if you do, drop some comments because my guests and I always like to connect with everybody. So with that, I will bring on our guest. Today we have joining us Hannah Pietsch. Hello, Hannah.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, you bet. I am so excited about this conversation because I feel very strongly about not only what we do as an organization to grow our professions, but also what we do to support each other. So I'm looking forward to talking about what that looks like for you. But before we do, Hannah, tell us a little bit about how you got started in communications and what was your journey? What was your path?
Yeah, I'll take you all the way back to childhood. A really funny story. My dad owned his own business and I was an only child. So when he got business cards printed for his business, he put my name on there and he listed me as his PR manager. So, he kind of foretold what I was going to be doing even at like the age of 10. And then fast forward a few years, I was thinking law school. I was studying interpersonal communications, and it got down to the point to where I was so close to finishing school and I just needed an internship to graduate, and I did not care. I just needed an internship.
Right,
I would have done anything at that point. But lo and behold, a professor had a colleague who was looking for a media relations intern. And I was like, that's me. That's what I need. I'm going to do that. And I fell in love with media relations and just, being able to take a story from an idea and build it and just see it come to life. I just fell in love with that whole process. And so from there, I worked in healthcare media relations for several years. A few years ago, I made the switch over to internal communications and executive communications. I got to work in the space of DEI and just have really learned like a whole other set of skills, I feel like, in the past few years, just applying a different lens to what we do. And then just a few months ago, I decided that the best thing for me and my family was to do something different. And so I actually went out as a solopreneur. And so now I'm full-time helping my clients with their communications needs.
I love it. And so when you are supporting your clients right now, and you're speaking my love language, as a solopreneur, what are you gravitate? Like, what is the space that you gravitate to the most?
I still just love storytelling. And that was something I didn't get to do a lot in internal communications. Like what I missed about healthcare media relations was really getting to know patients and like hearing how they walked through a difficult diagnosis and then whatever treatment they had to do. And then, that hero story of them coming out on the other side. I really did miss that the last few years. So I'm especially loving my opportunities to just tell more stories. But at the end of the day, what I want to do is I want to help my clients with what they need and with what matters to them. So, right now I have a client who she's wanting to start an email list and a newsletter. So I'm focusing on helping her with that. And then I have another client who is like, I just don't want to look at my social media. Can you just do that for me? So at the end of the day, I just want to personalize and customize what I'm doing for the clients. But if I had to pick what I did all day, every day, it would be talking to people who have just walked through incredible situations and come out on the other end stronger and better and happier.
Oh, I love that. And I love that we can make a living doing that, right?
Exactly.
It's a real job. And I have a question before we start talking about the topic on the table today. Do you still have that business card, or do you have one of those business cards that your dad got you when you were little?
I actually do still have one. And we also recently found I've been in a decluttering phase.
Yeah.
And I also found a picture of his first storefront. that, we had planted flowers in the front. So yeah, I've got those safely tucked away, and I'm going to get them framed soon so they can be a part of my office.
I love that. That's awesome. That is so important. Alrighty. So let's talk a little bit about the profession, right? You've worked in different spaces, you've done the internal, you've done the media relations. Now you're really honed in on those clients that you're supporting. How do you stay on top of your game? What is it that you are doing as a professional to make sure you are providing the best service and strategies for your clients?
Well, I think our go-to and like the first thing that we think about when as practitioners we think about this question, it's staying plugged into conferences in our industry, right? Whether it's a public relations conference or an internal communications conference, or even these days AI conferences, social media conferences. I think master classes, webinars, I am addicted to PRSA's emails. Every time it comes out with like a webinar or a class, I'm like, ooh, let me put that on my calendar. So I love staying plugged into what's happening in our industry and learning from other people. And I think for a lot of us, it's also bigger than just what we do. We also stay plugged in with the industry that we work in, whether it's oil and gas or healthcare, and learning about what's happening there. But what has made the biggest difference for me in the past few years is less professional development. And I don't mean to undermine that or act like it's not important, because it absolutely is. But where I have seen so much growth and change, both personally and professionally, is investing in my personal development and in skills that if I can be my best self at home, then I can be my best self at work. And I think so often we focus on being our best self at work that we forget to be our best self at home.
Yeah. Oh, so well said. And I think that's probably, for me, I would keep a book or two on my nightstand, but really during COVID, I started devoting and carving out time in my day to really capture exactly what you're talking about, because I could watch a lot of webinars on the technical parts, but really what I was missing was that self-reflection.
Right.
And the tools, once I have reflected on what to do next. So like, maybe I did find something that I want to work on. Oh, okay. So now what? So I think that that's a really big part of that is the intentionality. So what are some of the things that you do or that you've learned that have really helped that part of the development for yourself, that growth for yourself?
Well, I think to build on what you just said about being intentional, a concept that I've learned recently is, and it's appropriate time of year, is I no longer set New Year's resolutions, but I do set goals every year. And for me, what makes that different is resolutions tend to be these things that we think about, we dream about, and we don't have a plan. Yeah. Whereas with a goal, we have a plan. And so one of the skills that I've learned is, okay, how to take the goal, how to take where I want to end up, figure out where I'm starting, and then make the action plan to actually get there. And then part of that action plan is the skill of time management. Just because you know what to do, if you don't make time for it, it's not going to happen. It's like with, if someone wants to lose weight or get healthy, we all know to eat better and exercise, but if we don't make the time to exercise and to meal prep, we're not going to get there. So I think that has been a really big revelation for me. And then to go back to what I was saying about being your best self at home, I had to really take a step back and think, what is the life that I want? What is that goal that I'm working towards? And then it was learning skills like how to get debt free, how to build wealth, how to improve relationships, and how to be a leader. And I think for a lot of people, we think about leadership in the corporate setting or in workplaces, but I had to realize I'm a leader in my home. I have 2 kids and a husband who sometimes counts as my third kid.
I was going to say, count it, make it 3.
Exactly. So I've got 3 kids ranging from 5 to 40 that I've got to manage. And so that requires me being a good leader in the home. And what kind of culture do I want to have in my home? Just like what kind of culture do we want to have in our workplaces? And so it's skills like that have helped me change what I do outside of work, that's helped me level up professionally as well.
Yeah, no, I love that. And this whole idea of work-life balance, I found to not exist. I mean, I think there's a lot. I've heard it said a lot of different ways, but I think the things that you were talking about, especially with budget management and being debt free and understanding what it takes to build a business as a solopreneur, and be a mom, and be a spouse, and be a leader in the home, and maybe even in your community. I think that puts a lot of new skills in your tool chest, really. And so, what would you say is probably the biggest piece of advice you'd give to someone who is launching a journey like this, a self-reflection journey like this?
Yeah, I would say find the event that speaks to you. And by event, I mean the conference, right?
Yeah.
Like it has to be a dedicated time. When we try to plug it into our workday, chances of it getting done are probably slim. So for me, I have an event that I attend 5 times a year, and it's on my calendar. It's set aside time. I don't do client work. I don't do home life when I'm there. My husband handles it. And that is set aside time for me to learn what I need to learn, to reflect on what I need to do to grow and what the next step is, and to just invest in me. You know, we all know the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
But so often we don't make the time to actually refill our cup. And so I think that's the most important thing, is find that set apart, that set aside time that speaks to you, and refill your cup and put it on the calendar and treat it as sacred, set apart time. Don't let a client emergency, a work emergency interrupt that, just like you wouldn't let it interrupt a family vacation or, you know, whatever you may have going on in life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. Setting those boundaries are really key to success. I bet you have a phenomenal book list that you, like a recommendation list you give to people.
I have so many books that I love, and I actually keep a running list of books that, you know, people will recommend. I'm like, oh, I want to read that one. So if I can ever finish my running book list, like that would be a huge win for me.
Yeah, that'd be a goal. Well, okay. So Hannah, if any of our members want to connect with you and get that book list, because I think I do, how would they do that? What's the best way to connect with Hannah Pietsch when you are looking to bring her into your network?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on LinkedIn. It's Hannah Pietsch. Last name is Pietsch. I always tell people it's spelled funny, but it's easy to say once you know it's just like the fruit. And then my email address is hannah@belovedcoms.com. So I would love to hear from you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Hannah. I enjoyed the conversation. You were speaking my love language, and I can't wait to see you in person.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me on.
You bet. All right, everybody, make sure you connect with Hannah. I am putting her LinkedIn and her email address in the show notes. Remember, here at PRSA Houston, we are all about making sure that our members are connecting with each other, that we are sharing these nuggets that are helping us grow not only in our business, but in our professional life and our home life. That's what I meant to say, in our professional life and in our home life. So appreciate Hannah bringing up all those really great points. All righty. If you are listening on the podcast, make sure you hit subscribe. And if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, drop us some comments. We would love to connect. We'll see you guys next time.